Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm going to start out and tell you how I come to be here at Union. I'm just going on memory best I can, but I was probably in grade school at Robinson Elementary, about 11 years old. And the reason I come to Union is my parents were hired as the music director and the pianist organist. So it was just me and my brother. He was a couple years younger than myself. And so as I look out, I just have to start out with this funny. The choir, at that time, the choir box was over on this side and the organ and everything. And so my brother and I, we just had to come every Wednesday night and hang out while this choir practice is going on. That's two little kids. So we had free reign of this sanctuary. We rolled under them pews and everything. There is probably not many pews I haven't seen underneath them. But I grew up and I had some awesome Sunday school teachers. VBS was great. And the most amazing thing was our youth group. It was so big and it was just, the music was great and just everything about it. It was at a good time in my life. In early high school, and when I was in high school, my parents had divorced, and that was devastating to me. It wasn't a good time in my life. You don't realize, you think about the younger children that go through divorced, broken families, and I just couldn't understand after 17 years of my life why my parents, even though it was an unhealthy situation, I couldn't understand it. But moving on from that, the good thing is, growing up here, I formed some really treasured friendships with some of you, and that's where I found them. And I still have a few of those today, over 50 years, and that's hard to say. So then moving on, I go to college, and I got married, and I kind of moved away from Union for a while. So here I am, 25, with 3 babies, and I thought, now that I have children, I am going to bring them back to church. I don't care how hard it is. If I have to go by myself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to raise my children and give them the foundation that I was allowed to have growing up. So I did, and it was not pretty most of the Sundays, but I had so many of you that helped me, and I would come dashing in here to choir, and my hair's up like this, and I'm on high alert, and my 3 little kids are running around, I'm hollering, and they're holding the choir robe. That wasn't any way, but I just did the best that I could. So anyhow, eventually my marriage I was divorced, and I still continued to come and suffer through, and I was a single mom for 11 years, about 11 years. And but God sustained me. He brought me on through it. Then I married a really good man, and I married him about the time my girls were in junior high, and that was, can you imagine 3 teenage girls and me, all these hormones going on at the same time? It just wasn't working. But David was a blessing in disguise. He loved us like nobody's business. So God sent me that gift of a husband to manage and help tame those teenage girls. He had a way of doing things that I couldn't do. I remember Melissa and I, my oldest twin, she was like oil and I was water. We could not get along, but David said, I got it. I'd look over there 30 minutes later, and he would be over there petting her, and snuggling with her and talking so kind. And I'm like, really, I see how you're handling it. But, it worked. He did good. But David, he got really involved in church, the men, and it was so wonderful to have a spouse here with me at church. We were together for just a short period of time, maybe 20 years. It wasn't enough time for me, but it was enough for God. God works all these things out for the good and His glory, and it's all in His will, and you have to accept it. So now I'm doing life on my own, finding my normal, and life is good, other than the part of taking care of aging parents, and that comes with life. But the thing that I want to tell you as I look out at this congregation today is so many of my memories of my past and present are just flooding me. I think of all the weddings and the funerals, so many funerals that were your grandparents, your parents, your friends, and I was so privileged and honored to get to sing for those. It's something that I will always treasure. Another good thing is all the love and support helping me raise my young'uns, helping me to just put one step in front of each other was all you people, my church family. I don't have a real family here. But y'all remember when we were little, when we learned this as kids, here's the church, here's the steeple, open it up and out come the people. You are my people. You are my people. The most important thing is God was the glue to all this. I allowed Him to lead me and guide me. And then I'm going to tell you, folks, there was times, I'm like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? I don't know. I don't even know where to turn. I don't know how to pray anymore. But with y'all's help and God's help, I did it. So He really had prepared me coming to Union as a small child. He knew all the trials that I would face, and He did. It was all the way through the good, the ugly, and bad that He did take care of me. And His fingerprints were all over it. And folks, sometimes you don't even know that He is working things out, whether it's good or bad. But then when you come through on the other side of that storm, you're like, I know that was you, God. I know that was you. So, I've come from a broken home, abuse, divorce, being a single mom, being poor, knowing what that means, and death. And life is still beautiful. It doesn't matter. It's good. Praise be to God.
Let us stand now in our call to worship, celebrating a God who upholds us when we fall, lifts us up when we're bowed down, and who endures through all generations. I will exalt you, my God the King. I will praise your name forever and ever. Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and your dominion endures through all generations. The Lord is faithful to all his promises and loving toward all he has made. You uphold all who fall and lift up all who are bowed down. All eyes are on you, and you give food to those who need it in due season. You open your hand and satisfy the desires of every living thing. Let every creature praise his holy name forever and ever.